So it is officially here, Glitz and GirlPower Awards, and I'm here with one of the honorees today, Najahe Sherman. So you're honored this year. First of all, you're an Emmy-nominated, award-winning journalist, and you were a cheerleader for the Kansas City Chiefs, right?
I was, yes.
How was that experience?
It was just incredible. They had several good years. The outcome, not what Chiefs were hoping for, but that's okay. You know, at the end of the day, they have a lot to celebrate still.
But they killed it like back to back to back.
At the end of the day, you know, they have a lot to celebrate still.
So you're a woman in journalism. What kind of challenges have you had to face?
Journalism, a career in broadcast news particularly, is a very challenging career. I think people don't realize it's changed a little bit, but when I was starting out in journalism, you start in really small television markets and you work your way up. So people graduate from college and they think, I want to come to Miami. That's not your first job. You start in really small towns, you're carrying your own gear, you're shooting your own stories, you're editing your own work, you're doing every aspect of the job. And then as you evolve and you work your way up the markets, those responsibilities change a little bit, but it takes a tremendous amount of dedication. You have to be all the way in. And at the end of the day, you have to realize that good stories are about other people doing great things.
So the part about you carrying your own equipment, like you're so teeny beanie. So I could just picture you like dragging like the cameras and all of that.
Well, fortunately for journalists starting now, the equipment is much smaller. When I started, we carried these huge cameras. They were called DVC Pro cameras, and they weighed a ton, heavy metal tripods. So yes, you got in pretty good shape lugging those around. These days, really, you can even shoot great stories with your own cell phone. And what I love about that is anyone can become a journalist with their cell phone.
With the emergence of AI, do you feel like it's a threat to your industry?
Sure, I think that's a great question because we're seeing artificial intelligence, AI, filter into so many professions, and journalism is certainly one of them. Right now, for example, the teleprompter where we read the news off of, that's AI. At one point, it was someone rolling a teleprompter. I think at the end of the day, good storytelling has always got to come from a real person, and I think you can't fake that.
That is so true. So I'm really big on YouTube. And I was watching, the story popped up, and when I watched it, it was AI. It was like an AI news station on YouTube. And I'm like, what? Come on now, really? I switched it because it just wasn't authentic to me. Now, as a woman of color, do you see that there's more of you in your field?
I absolutely see that there's more of people, beautiful black and brown people in my field, but we still have a long way to go. Our news stations should really reflect the diversity of our communities, and we're seeing more of that, but nowhere to where it should be. And also, we need to see more of that in higher levels of leadership, in the executive office, at the CEO level. Again, we've made strides, but there's still a long way to go.
What is one blooper you'll never forget while on air?
Oh my gosh. That's why you start in really small markets, because there are so many bloopers that are going to happen. I would say probably when I was starting out early in my career, my co-anchor was also my very best friend. And sometimes, you know, you just like look at each other and you'll just start laughing. And it was in a very small market, but my friend and I got the giggles, and just trying to, you know, push through that experience is something I'll never forget.
What is one story you had to cover and you're like, wait a minute, this can't be real life?
I would say that happens on a daily basis with the news in Miami. Actually, a friend of mine who lives here in town didn't previously watch local news, and they tuned in when I became a broadcast journalist here, and they said, is everything that you guys talk about real? Like, does everything really happen in one day here in Miami? I said, our news is completely authentic. As a journalist, it's a really exciting television market to work at because so much happens in one day, but it's quite unbelievable how much happens in Miami in one day.
Especially those alligator stories.
Yes, all right, it's a real thing. Yes. Powerful women know who they are, they define themselves, they create themselves unapologetically, and they also build and love into other women. They want other women to be successful as well.